Hello and welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am a host of the show, Courtney Anderson. Today we have one of our Myth Warriors series shows, and those are the shows, of course, where we put on our offensive and our defensive gear. So we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves on defense. We're doing everything we can on offense to attack. We've got our weapons, and we're ready to go. What are we doing? We are out there in the world and we are trying to find out if ideas, right, are myths or they're actually something that might be a credible piece of data or information that we should utilize in making decisions. That's what we're doing. So today we have a specific topic of the show, which is don't take no for an answer. Don't take no for an answer. And this is sometimes a bit challenging when we're looking at this concept and trying to determine, is it a myth, right? Is it a falsehood, a lie, a fallacy, or is it something that might be actionable, potentially even an accurate idea or potentially even a fact? Who knows? When we look at this topic, don't take no for an answer. I mentioned that it can be challenging at times, and that's depending on the context. So, for example, many times when we're talking about, our path to surpassing our goals, and that's, of course, a foundational aspect of all of the programs and services I provide, right? We want to surpass those goals. We're talking about our business. We're talking about getting things done, right? Leadership. Oftentimes, people will say, well, look, if I'm going to go ahead and surpass my goals to generically succeed or get ahead or get to the top, and I'm doing it in business, I'm doing it in a certain aspect of business, maybe I'm in human resources, maybe I'm a manager, maybe I'm in a certain type of industry, maybe I'm a finance expert, maybe I'm an accountant, maybe I'm an attorney. People will say, look, you do what you have to do, right? And you don't take no for an answer. You just make it happen. You just get out there in life, and you're just assertive, and you just absolutely keep going. And there's so many examples in both business courses, sort of academic and university-based content, and also in sort of the self-help area of business and personal empowerment, where you get this whole sort of allegory, right, where something horrible happens and the person is told no, and what do? They just keep going, and you hear that a lot. And people say, well, so many people, this many banks turned me down, or this many places that I applied rejected me, that I didn't stop, and on the the 15th time or the 50th time or the 100th time I succeeded, and that's because I just did not take no for an answer. I don't take no, and that's what you do in life to get things done. You just don't take no for an answer. And so it seems like that this would lead us to believe that, hey, maybe this isn't a myth. Maybe it's a pretty accurate statement, and it's something that we should incorporate into our decision-making process to help us achieve and surpass our goals. Maybe we really don't take no for an answer. The challenge is this. Big picture, I'm going to give us two scenarios. So the first scenario is going to be that you are dealing with the same entity, right? So you've applied for a job at the same company. You've reached out to that same customer. It's literally the exact same entity, right? And I mean, if you apply to that business, you've applied to that same department, right? If you're trying to close a sale, you've reached out to that same customer with that same contact at that same individual customer over and over again. In that instance, where you say, you know what, I've applied to this same institution, to this same organization, and I'm just going to keep applying. I'm going to keep sending in the exact same documentation I sent in last time and the exact same application, and I'm going to just keep doing it. And I may have to apply every day. Maybe I'll apply every day forever. And then every time I get another email or note back that I wasn't moving forward as a candidate or that the position was filled, I'll just keep applying. And people will do this with jobs. People will do this with universities. So they'll think, okay, well, I applied to that university, for this year, for this degree, and I was rejected. So I'm just going to keep doing. I'll just apply again. I'll apply next semester, and I'll apply the semester after that, and the semester after that. Or someone will say, I talked to that customer, and they said they weren't interested right now in making any purchases, but I'm just going to keep. I'll just call them the next week, or I'll call them the week after that. I'm going to call them every single week, just forever, until I get what I want, right? Because I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm not going to accept that I wasn't admitted to this program. I'm not going to accept that I wasn't hired by this organization. I'm not going to accept that this customer doesn't want to purchase my goods or service. So I'm just going to keep going. And I'm going to over and over and over and over and over again until they finally say yes. In that setting, I'm making the argument that it is a myth. It is a myth. Don't take no for an answer. Because the more that you keep going back to the same well over and over and over and over again, it's possible that on the 10th time or the 100th time or even the 1,000th time, it's possible that the no will turn to yes. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's more probable that you're creating bad will and a negative perception by going back over and over and over again, especially in really short time frames where no one can even forget the last rejection or no, right? We just the word no, because here you are, the next week, the next month, the next school term, the next job fair. Here you are. And let's do this analogy, because sometimes when we're talking about work, and I use these analogies, outside work, your real life, and your inside work a lot. I talk about, especially with management, human resources, leadership, all this business content, because I think it is sometimes easier to look at a behavior if it's not at work, and then translate that behavior to work and see what your decision-making analysis would be. So let's take an example, right? So we're still on this first scenario. First scenario is it's the exact same entity, and you're going back and you're asking for the exact same thing. So you went, you asked, they said no. And the question is, do you take no for an answer and stop the behavior, right? Or you just say to yourself, I'm not going to take no, right? Don't take no for an answer and make that no a yes. They may have said no, but they really mean yes. So when I talk to organizations about workplace behavior, respect in the workplace, and we handle the specific part of that program, which is about respecting people and not engaging in any behavior that may constitute sexual harassment, I ask this question. So let's say that I go, this is not at work, right? Let's say that this is an issue where I am a single person and I'm going to go out and I want to find a romantic relationship. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to find someone and I'm going to date them and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to be in love and everything's going to be beautiful. So here I am in life. I'm a single lady and I see someone that I'd like to date when I'm at the local store buying some groceries, buying something to eat. So I'm at my local store buying something to eat, and I look and I see the person of my dreams. My heart stops. It doesn't actually stop, but I have the heightened adrenaline and excitement where my perception is it's pounding. And my skin is tingling, and my breath is drawn in. And I'm looking across my shop where I'm buying my groceries, and there they are. The perfect physical embodiment of everything that I would want in my new romantic partner. And so I decide I'm going to kind of, see what I can do to introduce myself. So I go over to the person, and they happen to be working there. So this is great. It's really convenient for me because, if they were just maybe shopping there, I might not ever, see them again or know how to find them. But I noticed they're wearing a name tag that they work at my local shop where I buy my groceries. So this is like awesome. It told me their name, and then it also let me know that most likely, unless they, quit immediately, I'll get to see them again. So I walk over, and their name, I look on the nameplate, and I see their name is Kyle. And I think to myself, Kyle. And I start to daydream and to go into a fantasy place where I'm imagining our future and where we'll live and the happy movies we'll watch together on our couch and how awesome it will be. And so I come back to reality a little bit, and I kind of walk over there and I smile and I look Kyle in the eyes and I say, hi, my name's Courtney. So you work here? It's a great store. I shop here all the time. And Kyle's nodding. And then I say, so, yeah, I live in, kind of close in the neighborhood, and there's a really great restaurant I've been wanting to go to. It has Indian food, and tomorrow night is like a great night, and I also know they have some specials, and I'd love to go tomorrow night. Do you want to go with me? All right, so here we go. Question is, am I going to not take no for an answer, or am I going to ignore that advice? So I said all that to Kyle. Kyle looks at me, and Kyle says, yeah, this is a great shop. I just started working here. It's thank you for telling me about that restaurant. I didn't know. I'm not able to go to the restaurant tomorrow, so I've got other plans. But thanks. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so let's see what we do. First choice, we say to ourselves, hey, don't take no for an answer, right? So let's say that this happened on Monday, right? And so Kyle basically said that Kyle had other plans. So, okay, all right. And I'm not going to take no for an answer. So let's say that I go back Tuesday, but I look around the shop, I don't see Kyle there at all. And I wait for 3 hours in the parking lot or outside to see if Kyle walks up the street or anything. Don't see Kyle. So finally I have to go to the bathroom, so I go home. And then I also have to do other stuff because I've been sitting in the shop area for 3 hours waiting to see if Kyle shows up. Okay, so that was Tuesday. All right, so that was the day after. Okay, so I'm busy for the next 2 days. So then 3 days later, here I am. I'm back at the shop, and I'm walking around. Oh, I see Kyle. There's Kyle. So I go up to Kyle, and I say, hey, Kyle, hey, so yeah, a few days ago, Courtney, yeah, I met you here. Great shop. Yeah, I love this shop. I'm here all the time. So I think I mentioned to you some Indian food, but there's another place, sort of, a little bit past the Indian place, and it's got music, like really great live music. So I'm thinking I'm going to totally go, later tonight. What time do you want to meet me there? Do you want to come, meet me there? What time do you want to meet me? And so Kyle looks at me, and Kyle says, hey, it's really still a great store. Yeah, I'm really, getting to know the store. Great. I'm glad I got the job. No, I got plans. I'm not going to be able to go to the music tonight. And so if I hear that and I think, ooh, the games Kyle plays with me. And so I decide that I'm going to come to the store every single day. And so I come to the store the next day, no Kyle. Come the day after that, Kyle's there. And I go to Kyle and I say, hey, I don't know if you really wanted to do the Indian food thing or you want to try something else. There's another place that has It has Ethiopian food. It's really awesome. It's a little bit further, but we can make that work. And then Kyle says, oh, it's nice to see you again, but I'm really sorry. I got plans. And then I think, I'm not going to take no for an answer. And so I go there the next day, and I see Kyle again, and I say, Kyle, hey, you want to hang out with me later? We don't have to do anything at night. We can do, something, later. Are you on break? Do you have a lunch? Kyle says, yeah, I'm really sorry. I wish I could. But thanks, but no, I can't. Not today. And then I see Kyle 2 days later, and I say, hey, Kyle, you want to do something? You want to hang out? You want to get a coffee? And Kyle says, yeah, no, I'm really sorry. Do you see at any point in here that my idea where I'm not going to take no for an answer has become a negative choice? Because you should. Repeatedly going back to somebody who's telling you no, whether they're saying literally the words no, I don't want to go out with you, no, or they're just saying things like, oh yeah, I'm busy, I have plans, yeah, I can't make it. I don't care what they say. If it's not behavior where they agree voluntarily to do whatever it is you're asking them, then it's a no. And if I go over and over and over and over and over again, I keep asking Kyle, thinking, I'm not taking no for an answer, right? That's how you get stuff done in life. You got to get out there and make it happen. What I am potentially risking at some point is my behavior being so repetitive and unwelcome that I could potentially create a problem where in many parts of the world where somebody tells you no and you don't stop the behavior, some parts of the world, it could be a crime. Depending on what you're saying and doing, it could be a crime of stalking, a stalker, right? A stalker is somebody that you said, no, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to date you. I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to do that. We're not doing that. I don't want to, come to your apartment across the hall and get to know you better. I don't want to. No. Whatever it was, you say no. And the person thinks, I'm not going to take no for an answer. No, not me. I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to no into a yes. I'm going to overcome objections. And they just keep asking the same person over and over again, basically the same thing. It's potentially going to get you a problem. In some parts of the world, they can go to court and get pieces of legal document that tell you to stay away from a certain amount of area where the person either works or lives. Called restraining orders. Kyle could get one against me if they keep going to that store over and over and over again, bothering Kyle every time, waiting in to see if Kyle shows up or gets off the bus or if comes in the parking lot to show up for work. It's unwelcome. The repetitive no, I'm going to argue 2 is a repeat. That's enough. Stop doing it. Because you do risk outside of work. Right, so it was just me. I didn't work at the shop. I was just going to the shop to buy stuff. I'm a customer. I'm living my regular life. Now Kyle works there, which is one of the reasons why probably Kyle was so friendly to me and kept, listening and being polite and saying no thank you, is because it is Kyle's job. So Kyle might have said something different if he was not at his job. The challenge is this. I hope you see through this first option where you go to the same entity over and over and over and over and over again. It's possible. It's possible. It's secretly possible that secretly inside Kyle really does secretly want to be with me, but Kyle is intimidated by my beauty. Every time I'm around Kyle, my beauty just renders it impossible for us to discuss something about meeting up because my beauty just overwhelms Kyle. And secretly, Kyle does want me. It's possible. It's not probable, because if somebody really wants to turn a no into a yes, they're going to say yes at some point. At some point will be, I said, no more than 2 requests. Ideally, 1 no should be enough, but if you're still confused, you can maybe ask one more time. 2 is the limit. No more. Leave it alone. And I'm saying that for asking somebody out on a date. I'm also saying that for asking for a job. Again, there's always that story you hear where someone says, oh, I really wanted to work at that record company or that movie studio. It was my dream to do that, and so I just went there every single day, and I every single day I kept going and applying, and I sat around the office for 10 hours a day, and I told the front desk administrative person, I'm never going to leave until I get to meet with the executives and come work here. It's my dream to work at this media company or movie company or record company or modeling agency or art gallery or whatever. You do hear those stories. I would, again, with a very strong caution, the same problem can happen. If it's possible that, you go someplace and the 300th time you go there, they say, oh, we were just waiting to see how much, dedication you had to wanting to be part of our company. Of course, come on in. We were waiting for you. We just wanted to see how many days it would take you to, to give up, but you never gave up. So now you're rewarded and you come work in this industry and have your dream job. It's possible. My argument is it's not the most probable outcome. And if you keep doing that, people can get restraining orders against you, even for something like that, just going over and over again in the same business and applying for a job. It's what I would argue is this. Ideally, one no, accept it as a no, and leave it where it is. Now, can you then try other paths? Not the exact same path, right? The same path was asking that same person for the same thing. A different path would be, okay, well, let me go look at my job materials, see if I can apply for an internship through my school to gain some industry experience if I really want to be in fashion or movies or film or whatever. That's a different path. That's not going the exact same person the exact same way. It's a different path. Potentially even a different person looks at internships. So there's a way to combine a healthy level of being driven and motivated and tenacious and not run up against this unhealthy, repetitive behavior that crosses a line where it becomes not just really unwelcome, but it can really disrupt people's lives. People can feel so uncomfortable, that they'll do anything they can to make the behavior stop. And if they feel they don't have other resources, sometimes then they will go to law enforcement or to the courts and say, look, this person's coming to our store every single day, or this person's coming to our business every day. We need them just to stay away. Now, that's embarrassing. But usually, and I'm saying this as a lawyer who worked many cases, so that, stereotypically people think of this type of behavior only when someone's trying to date somebody, right? And they'll think, oh, well, they just didn't take no for no. And a lot of our healthy choices programs for young people, college-age people, and even adults, we teach them does no mean no. And the idea is that most of those campaigns say, yeah, no does mean no. So if somebody says no, it means no, stop. My argument is that doesn't just apply to dating or being at a party or not really sure if somebody wants to continue to be romantic with you, but this is for everything else in life. So you do hear that very rare, usually very inspirational story where somebody just never gave up. I'm not saying give up. What I'm saying is if you're doing the exact same behavior with the exact same person, you got to know. I said the first time, stop doing it. I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of leeway and say if you get a second no, that is a definite 100%, we're interpreting it for right now, stop sign. Stop doing that. I know you really want to go to that college. I know you really want to get a job at that company. I know you really want to work in that industry. I know you really want to spend time, you think, with that person, and date them or have them as your friend. I know you really want that person to be your mentor. I know you really, really admire the person you saw on a television show. I know you really, really, really want that. But I'm telling you, the second no is a total, absolute confirmation of no. And very well-intentioned people can get in trouble because they get overcome with emotion, excitement, anticipation. Sometimes they're motivated by their own fears, and they just keep thinking, well, if I don't take no for an answer, then I'll get to yes. The person will tell me yes. Again, what we're going to do is this. In scenario one, this first option scenario where you're going to the same person with the same request. So you want that job, you want to be admitted to that school, you want to get in that industry, you want to be friends with that person, you want to potentially date that person. You got one no. I argue at that point, stop. If you really feel you're still confused, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of leeway. You get one more, you get two no's. That is a 100% no. Stop. Stop. Now, what do I mean by stop? Sometimes people say, well, are you saying then, if Kyle was at the store and you like to shop there and Kyle said no, they didn't want to go out twice and you just don't go to the store? Well, no, I didn't say that. I mean, you could stop going to the store, but you really have to just stop the specific behavior. What's the specific behavior? The behavior where you got the no. No one said you couldn't go to the store. What they're saying is you can't ask Kyle out again. right? If you don't do this, then you risk all of these really negative consequences. And the worst, I use the, a civil or criminal or both situation where you have a restraining order or you're arrested for trespassing. There's criminal charges for being basically a stalker. But how about just the embarrassment? Why would you degrade and humiliate yourself? You got your 2 no's. I would argue you can stop at 1, but if you want to go to your 2, leave that for what it is. Now, it may be that secretly inside that person thinks you're the best candidate for that job, or really can see that you have the glimmer in your eye to be the best model. It may be that they secretly might want to date you, but they were too scared, and now that you stopped talking to them and asking them out, or applying for the job, or showing up at their business, now they will reach out to you. I guarantee you, if they really secretly want to date you, want to be your friend, want to hire you, want to book you as a model, want to make you a movie star, want to hire you to work at their company, they will do it. They will reach out to you. So you don't have to worry and think, if I don't ask them 75 times, then they'll forget about me. They haven't forgotten about you. If there's something in there that they saw potentially, they will go ahead then and reach out to you. Now, does that mean that I'm saying that if you, in the example, the person wants to date, it didn't work out with Kyle, and I'm saying you just quit and you never ever ask anybody out? No. What I said is, so the first scenario was the same person at the same request. I said with 1 no, you should stop, but I gave you a little bit of leeway. I said with 2 no's, you have to stop. You must stop. No more. It is a myth in that situation not to take no for an answer. Don't take no for an answer is a myth. Take no for the answer. You had 2 no's. Take that as the answer. That doesn't mean you're never going to date and be lonely forever. It doesn't mean you're never going to get in any university. It doesn't mean you're never going to be in the fashion industry or movie industry or whatever is your dream. It just means that you're not going to keep going to that same entity, the same person, asking the same question. Now, can you go to a different company and apply for a job? Yes. Can you try that same company for a different path instead of applying at the front desk or applying online? You're going to go apply through the education program. You're going to apply through the internship. You're going to apply through a volunteer. Yes. That's a different way, right? The end goal of finding someone for your romantic relationship, the end goal of finding your dream job in the industry that you really love, the end goal of getting into the best university that you can, that you will achieve, right? So just like we said a few minutes ago, just because you ask one person out, I gave the example, ask Kyle out at the shop, and Kyle doesn't say yes, that doesn't mean I never ask anybody out again. And that's the other sort of weird thing people get into in this area that makes it challenging. People say to me, well, I did apply to college, and the one college I applied to said no, and I just gave up, and I never did anything ever, and now I'm sad. What? Just because you asked one person, one business, one university, one job opportunity, and that one said no, that doesn't mean you quit. What that means is you have to then find a different path. Maybe you're not going to go to that university right now. Maybe you'll reapply there later when you're in maybe you'll be in a different graduate level. Maybe you will apply to another school that's also an awesome place. Maybe it wasn't your first choice. Maybe it's your third choice. But you will, if you want to go to the university, you will go to the university. Now, which university you go to is going to be partially up to things that are beyond your control. But if you say to yourself, if I don't get to go to this university with this program, I will just never go anywhere, you're sabotaging yourself. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's illogical. That's like saying, if I don't get this person that wants to date me, I'll just never date anybody at all. Again, illogical. If there's a certain industry that you love or a certain business that is just everything to you, that industry has more than one option in. It has more than one way. I'm saying don't go to the same door over and over again. I said 1 no, you should stop. I said 2 no's, you must stop. In that situation, it is not a myth. It is a myth. I'm sorry. It is a myth. Don't take no for an answer is a myth. You've gone to the same door, meaning the same person, the same opportunity. You got no twice. You must stop going there. You must take no for an answer. If that entity really wants you as an employee, as a potential romantic relationship, they will reach out to you. I am guaranteeing it. You do not, though, extrapolate that one instance of no and think, oh, it just means I'm not good enough for this industry. I knew I was not a good enough singer. I wasn't pretty enough to be a model. I knew that no one will ever want me as a romantic partner. I'm never going to be smart enough to go to any university. All of that is silliness. It's all silly. There's so many different options to get your foot in that door to move towards your end goal. The end goal is not, I must be at this university, I must marry this person. That's not an end goal that's rational. It isn't. Now, is the end goal, I'm going to be in the fashion industry, rational? Yes. Maybe your initial plan was you wanted to be a fashion model. When you started doing that, or you tried it a little bit, you realized you really don't like it, but you love photography, or you loved project design and management. You'll get in that. There is a way to achieve and surpass your goal, but it is not going to be a specific goal tied to that any one person, one company, one thing. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because there's so many variables and there's so many options. It can't be, if I don't marry this person, I'll never marry anybody. It's silly and it's not logical. That person may not want you, and they have the right not to want you. You have also the responsibility to respect a no. No does mean no. The only thing you don't take no for an answer is the bigger, broader question of who you are and what your options are in life. If you really have a dream, you went through that one door, you got a no, just go to a different door. It may be a different university, it may be a different person, it may be a different program, but you could go into different doors. Going to different doors is the same thing. If you strongly feel ready for a romantic relationship and you went to one person and they rejected you, accept the no. We just went over this. You must accept it. Leave them alone. Don't ask them out anymore. If they want you, they'll let you know. They will call, email, text, find you, come to where you are, whatever, and tell you, okay, I'd like to go out to eat. That's a clue. If they don't do that, then that's a clue. It's not a clue. It's a message. Please, leave them alone. If you don't, you're going to embarrass, degrade, humiliate yourself. You're being disrespectful to yourself. You're also being disrespectful to other people and their rights. And you potentially, of course, are also risking these other potentially even more permanent record bad outcomes of, trespassing charges, restraining orders, criminal charges of being a stalker. Leave it alone. Now, if you applied at one industry and you said my dream is to be a pilot, and you applied at one airline, they said no. You applied at another 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 airline, they said yes. Boom, brilliant. That's the type of situation where the goal is I'm going to work in the airline industry, or I'm going to be in the fashion industry, or I'm going to be around music, or I'm going to be around horses, or I'm going to be around birds. I don't care, whatever the big picture is, but it can't be that one specific entity, because that's just one outlet and one opportunity. If you strongly are ready for going to university and you're ready to go, then you apply. That's why you don't only apply to one place. You apply to multiple places. Maybe you'll get in one place. Maybe you'll get in every place you apply to. Who knows? But at least then you get to pick. And then your goal of going to university is achieved. Now, maybe it wasn't the first university you wanted to go to, or the university that you thought you'd like the most, but you're in the university. You're going to get the credential. Your life's going to be awesome. You must think through the idea. As a myth warrior, don't take no for an answer is a myth and a lie if it's the same no from the same entity. If it's the bigger picture, broader goal of a category, right? I'm going to be in a relationship. I'm going to go to a university. I'm going to work in the aviation industry. That's a category with lots of different entities, people and companies and places to go. You just keep going to different doors. So you haven't gone back to the same door more than once, right? Because we get a no in that same door, I'm going to leave that door alone and go to a different door. But I went to different doors, so I actually am consistent. I've never gone to the same door, right, more than twice, because I gave generous and said I'll let you have, because some people say, well, what if the first time, they didn't really understand what I was saying? Well, okay, fine. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. You can go and you can get two no's. You get two no's at that one door, that one entity, that one person. You don't ever go back to that door, right? They want you, they'll let you know. Then you just go to different doors. But you're in the category of the goal. You must define these things broadly. So at the conclusion of this awesome, I think, and interesting discussion, I would strongly encourage you to think that don't take no for an answer is a myth if we're talking about the same no from the same entity. If we're talking about an entire category, we don't take no for an answer for the entire category, but we do continue then to go to different doors. So I'm never violating my rule. I ask once, I get a no. My advice, you immediately move to the next door. If you want to go again and just to be, quote, sure, and ask a second time, you can go ahead and do that and then go to the second door, which is the second person or the second department or the second company or the second part of the world, or I don't care what you need to do to keep moving to different doors. Eventually, one of those doors will work. Eventually, you're going to find someone that likes you like them. Eventually, you're going to find a place that will say, okay, we're going to take a chance on you. Eventually, you'll find a way to get into that dream industry or that opportunity. It's not going to be one specific, because we know when we get two no's, we must move on to another place because we must accept that no is the answer from that entity. We just go to another door. So we're never violating our rule. We got to keep being creative and going to more doors. Oh, I really hope that you enjoyed this. It's a lot to digest and think about, but it's one of those fundamental issues with business. If we don't incorporate it into, of course, our business, our professional lives, and our entire lives, we can risk all kinds of really poor outcomes. All right? Thank you so much for joining me. As always, you can come to CourtneyAnderson.com for your show ideas, suggestions, feedback, and I, again, appreciate your time today.